trade using gut instinct? Hi, it's Charlie giving you Tuesday's video. Hope you're very well. So, just had a discussion in the trading room today about gut instinct, and the in answer to that question, there's actually several answers to that question. So, gut instinct: can you trade using gut instinct? The why I've brought this topic up is because it came up on my social media feed yesterday, I think it was, that some top level traders do use gut feel as part of their trading. So these are top level like bank traders, hedge fund type traders as well, and so they will use that gut instinct, if you want to call it that. But how can we actually dissect what gut instinct is? So firstly, I would say you don't, if you're a normal retail trader, then you don't want to be using gut instinct. You don't want to be trading thinking, oh, it's not going to go any higher, so I'm going to bank my profits, or oh, it's coming down, so I'm going to close out. That is not good. That's trading on your emotions and whatever your gut feel might be, but you're not in control of those. So how I interpret gut instinct is a heightened sense of awareness. Okay, so let me give you some examples. So I've got a chart up here of the euro dollar. So when we were coming into the back end of December last year, my gut instinct, if you want to call it that, was starting to give me flashing sort of warning signs, because the euros had a great year, all that way up, all the way through last year, and then we're coming into December, and I'm getting like these warning flags coming in, because I'm seeing lots of stuff out there coming up on news articles, social media. Everyone's talking about how the dollar was doomed coming into for January. That to me raises warning flags. So my gut feel then says, well, hold on a second. Lots of news stories, lots of people talking on the financial Twitter about the dollar continuing its decline. What actually happened? The dollar strengthened. Okay. So my gut feel was to actually go out there and then find these sources to say, actually, from a sentiment perspective, this is getting frothy. So this is actually a warning flag to me that maybe I don't want to be getting on the long side at the moment, even though it's been having, at that point, it's in this wonderful trend. But technically it was at some resistance anyway. That's why I've got my old lines on here. If I go out to like a monthly chart, you'll see what that red line responds to. These prior highs over here, and slices for all of these lows, as you can see, back from way back, starting from 2009. So I was getting that, and that's what I would say I would use as my gut instinct. Is that it's really experience. That's what it is, and that's why newer traders shouldn't try and use it, because they haven't got experience. So it's that experience of just knowing when something isn't quite right. So if I now take us to another example, and that would be 2017, another big multi-month trade of mine back in 2017, and this one was a big one again because of the sentiment, and my warning flags were going off at this point, because back in 2017 price was coming down. We got down into the 103s against the dollar on the euro. Everyone was talking about the euro going to parity, coming down to 1 against the dollar. So, and I'm getting all these warning flags because everybody, all the news forecasters, the articles you're reading out there, are all talking about parity, euro parity. So my gut instinct, my awareness, my warning flags are going off that, hold on a second, if everybody's looking at the euro to go down, we got to look at this market technically and see if there are any reasons why technically it might want to go up. And that was why I was trading euro on the long side back then. So that's what I would call gut instinct. It's really not trading on gut instinct. You're trading based on your certain patterns and the technicals that you use, and fundamentals, whatever it may be that you use. But it's that heightened state of awareness for when the crowd are getting involved in something or having a view on something. And the euro dollar back at the beginning of early 2017, the crowd were all wanting to see that euro dollar go lower. Coming into 2021, the crowd were all looking for the euro to carry on going up against the dollar and for the dollar to carry on declining. Now, I'm not saying that the dollar can't decline this year and that ultimately this euro dollar works its way back up again. But at that point, too many people all talking about the same thing. Even down to, if I bring up Bitcoin, I can just bring it on here. There we go. If I bring up Bitcoin here. Now, Bitcoin, it's on the daily chart, right? Yeah. So, beautiful trend, must admit. I mean, you don't see much of a nicer trend than this when you've got all your moving averages on, in the right positions on top of one another, all fanned out. Absolutely beautiful looking chart from a moving average perspective. But again, even with Bitcoin, there are times when my senses are heightened. So I was talking to the guys in the trading room earlier about this, about when I was talking to a friend of mine last year as Bitcoin was coming up into the latter part of last year, and he bought Bitcoin back in 2017 or maybe early 2018, and he said, if Bitcoin can get back up to those all-time highs that it had, I'm going to close out because then I'll be back up at break even. Now, my spidey senses, if you want to call it that, my gut instinct is telling me then, I know he's only one person, but there's going to be a lot of people out there all around the world that would be breathing a sigh of relief if they held on to Bitcoin all of that time, that by the time it comes back up close to those all-time highs, that they're just going to come out and say, thanks very much, I'm back out at break even. That told me, my gut instinct, to stay with my trade because I bought Bitcoin back in June, wherever, through here. So that told me I should be staying on with that. But then once I sense that the trade is getting crowded and more of the masses are coming in, like we've seen over the last month or so, then I start getting, again, a bit concerned. So that's how I use, if we want to call it gut instinct. I don't get into trades on gut instinct, but at the same time, I will measure how my gut feels towards a trade. And sometimes it's those trades that feel really difficult are the ones that actually, when you take them, are the ones that actually work out, because it's the uncomfortable trade in your gut so often is the one that actually ends up being a really nice trade. So the ones that you feel so comfortable about that you've got everything lined up are the ones that actually don't work out, and I'm sure many of you have experienced that. So that's how I go about using my gut instinct, if you will. I call it a heightened sense of awareness. So it's using my experience rather than anything else, of just getting that gauge as to when a market, there's too many people all on one side of the market. So that'll be one way that I'll use it. And I was talking earlier on when I used to do martial arts when I was young, and you'd go out on a Saturday night, I'd have that heightened sense of awareness my other friends wouldn't have for when there might be trouble. When you're 18, 19 years old, quite often you're out in a bar or whatever, and there would be trouble. Certainly back when I was 18, 19 years old, I don't know what year that was, but maybe early 1990s maybe, or yeah. And having that elevated sense of awareness keeps you safe, and whether you're in a situation like that, so you could sense if there's aggression in a bar or in a club or whatever, and it's no different to having that same sort of experience, but in the trading world, and being able to use those heightened senses to say, everything's not quite right here, and then going off and then exploring it and then seeing if there's a trading opportunity there. So anyway, just a bit of food for thought. I welcome any of your questions or thoughts on this, on what you think might be gut instinct or might serve you well or may not serve you well, because certainly in the main, gut instinct in the main doesn't serve people well, because that's where they just come out on make decisions based on emotions. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about how we can use that experience to assist our technical trading. Anyway, I shall leave that with you. Have a great week. I'll see you on the end. I'll put something else up on Saturday. Take care for now.